So I wanted to come on here before the day really gets going. Um, because I think most of us wait until we're already overwhelmed, triggered, pissed off, or halfway into a spiral before we start to actually work on regulating ourselves. And then you're desperately trying to breathe, tap, ground, or think positive while your nervous system is already screaming at you and is like, fuck no, I'm pissed now. I'm dealing with this now. But what if we started supporting ourselves before the trigger? I think that would change a lot. What if you started the day by noticing your baseline and shifting what you can, and then intentionally deciding how you want to meet the day? And this isn't about creating some perfect morning routine. I don't believe in that. I am ADHD, and it's not always the easiest thing to follow some perfect morning routine. This isn't about pretending that everything is magical and that there's nothing wrong. It's about giving yourself more capacity before life starts lifing. Because I've experienced this myself, and I've been seeing a lot of posts and comments about people just wake up anxious. They just wake up feeling anxiety or feeling nervous or not feeling okay. And I've been there. And I still have it happen occasionally. I know how much that sucks. So let me talk about what I mean by baseline first. Your baseline is the state that you're beginning from. Maybe you woke up and you're already anxious. Especially if you're ADHD, your thoughts might already be racing, your body feels tense, and you're already anticipating everything that could go wrong that day. Or maybe you wake up and you feel really heavy and really disconnected and you just don't want to move at all. Maybe you actually wake up feeling kind of steady, feeling all right. And then you immediately grab your phone and you hand that steadiness over to all the notifications, all the bad news, everyone else's problems, and everything that you need to get done that day. Your baseline isn't a judgment. You aren't failing because you woke up anxious or exhausted. But you can start to notice where you are and ask, what would help me feel a little bit more supported right now? Not what's going to completely transform this or instantly put me in a high vibe place, just a little bit more supported. Because I think it's important, like, to feel the things we're feeling. Our emotions, they're signals, they're guides to tell us what's going on, to tell us what we need. So I don't want us trying to push that away. We just need to create 5 to 10% more space, feel a little bit better, and then work from there. I don't like cheese that much, so they can totally have my cheese. But okay, so what's up, everyone? I didn't actually even realize anyone was here listening. Hi. Um, I don't know where you guys came in at, but I am this morning talking about raising our baseline. You know, a lot of us, we start the day already in an anxious state, or we wait until we're triggered to start to try to calm down or do something about it. And I'm not saying, like, okay, if you wake up anxious or you wake up frustrated or feeling like crap, to just push all of that away and raise your frequency. That's never the goal. Our emotions, the things that we're feeling, they're all very important and very valid. They're signals for us. But When we can start raising our baseline before we get triggered, we have more control over things. So, anyway, that's what I'm talking about today. So, let's talk about raising your frequency without bypassing yourself. When I say raise your frequency, I am not talking about ignoring pain or forcing yourself to be grateful or pretending that you're not angry. That is like the opposite direction of where I want us to go. Like, all of those things are important. You can shift your experience without denying what you're feeling and what's going on inside of you. Sometimes raising your frequency can look like dancing or laughing or gratitude or feeling empowered. And sometimes it looks like finally admitting, I'm fucking overwhelmed. Sometimes it's as simple as drinking a little bit of water, opening up the blinds, letting some sunlight in, eating something, maybe stepping outside to feel the sunshine, or turning off all the noise. You don't raise your frequency by abandoning yourself for a more socially acceptable emotion. That's not how that works. You raise it by meeting yourself honestly and then choosing the next input intentionally to be able to get to a different place. And one reason this is so important is, like, I'm all about all the woo woo stuff. I'm very into that, if you can't tell. But I'm also very into science. And a lot of this stuff is science too. We have this thing in our brain called the RAS, the reticular activating system. And it's located at like your brainstem. And how this thing works is it tells us what to focus on. Well, we tell it what to focus on. It kind of works like the algorithm does on social media. What we think about, what we focus on, it shows us more of. So when you're starting your day and you're already thinking like everything's going to go wrong, today sucks, I hate that I have to do this, I don't want to do that, you're more likely to experience those things because that is what the RAS is going to look for. It's like when you decide you want to get a red car, you start seeing red cars everywhere. But we can shift that. And I don't mean by doing fake gratitude or acting like everything is okay, because that's just like fucking denial, and that's not really going to help you either. But gratitude can be very useful. It can help us remember that the difficult thing isn't the only thing that's happening right now. And that really matters. When we're stressed out, our attention naturally starts to search for more problems, more danger, more evidence that everything is going wrong. And then when we're doing that, we're feeding the RAS this information that that's what we're looking for. So we see even more. So gratitude doesn't erase the hard thing. It just helps to widen the picture. It makes it like a panoramic view of everything. So instead of forcing yourself to say something like, I'm grateful for my life, when you really don't feel that grateful for it, find something really specific. Specific enough that you can actually feel it. Because that's another important part of gratitude. It's not just about being like, oh, I'm grateful for this thing. It's actually feeling that gratitude in your body. And you can do this with something as simple as like your cup of coffee. Hold it in both of your hands. Feel the warmth. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath of it. Maybe the sound of someone you love. You can feel gratitude for that. Or the feeling of your blanket when you first wake up in the morning. The fact that your body kept breathing while you were sleeping. Maybe there's a moment yesterday where you handled yourself differently. That's something to be grateful for. It can be something crazy small. We're not trying to use gratitude to silence the things that actually hurt. We're just using it to remind ourselves that the pain is not the only thing that exists. Because it's not. There's so much more than that. And sometimes it's actually like the lens that we're looking at things through. There's people that have barely anything that live very, very happy lives. Sometimes we need to shift our perspective a little bit and it gets a lot easier. And also, another thing, you don't need a fucking 2 hour morning routine to be able to do this. Just look at the inputs that you're giving yourself in the morning. What are you listening to? What are you watching? Like, are you turning on the news and seeing all the negative shit going on first thing in the morning? Whose energy are you immediately stepping into? I used to get up in the morning with my kids. Now I make sure I have time for me before I get up with my kids. And I like having a long morning routine. And I have a business that I run. So my life is built for me to do that. So I do have a long morning routine. But even if you can only wake up 5 minutes before everyone else and be like, okay, today is going to be good. I'm going to handle any situations that arise with grace in ways that I want to, whatever. That makes such a big difference, okay? And sometimes it's as simple as maybe you need to have some food or some water. But start looking at what is your baseline? What are you feeling when you're first waking up? And what is going to actually support you? Does your body need stillness? Maybe it's stiff and you actually need a little bit of movement. You would be amazed at what 5 minutes in the sun in the first 30 minutes of waking up would do for you. There's a whole bunch of science behind it, but especially if you struggle with any mental health stuff, that 5 minutes of sunshine, it starts producing dopamine and a bunch of other things and helps us get into a better place. And another thing is too that we can really be creating small reset points throughout the day. You don't have to wait until you're getting triggered to be able to work on this stuff. Maybe your social media has a lot of chaos on it, and you might need to take a few deep breaths before you open that shit. Or before you answer a difficult message, regulate a little bit. When you're transitioning from work into family time, when you start to notice that you're feeling overstimulated, not when you're overwhelmed. Like, why are we not, okay, especially, like, all right, let's say you struggle with people pleasing, or you struggle with shutting down, or spiraling, or overreacting. Why are we not preparing ourselves before we walk into a conversation that we know may already be difficult if we know we struggle with things like that? You could regulate and set yourself up for success for that difficult conversation and be able to show up in a way that you're actually proud of. You don't have to wait to be in a complete spiral or shutdown to be able to actually start regulating yourself. The earlier you actually notice it, the earlier you can work on changing it. And that's what the moment before is all about. I was going to do a meditation, but I don't think anyone's actually going to like stay here long enough for me to actually do a meditation. So I think I'm just going to not do that today. I'll probably just record a meditation and throw it on here later because I've been recording more hypnotic experiences. But yeah, I want you to know that you don't have to guarantee yourself that you're going to have this perfect day or pretend that nothing difficult is going to come up. Just give yourself a different starting point. And then throughout the day, return to where am I right now and what do I need? What do I want to be in the next moments? Like, how do I want to be able to show up? And what do I need to be able to show up that way? That's how we start building a different baseline. It's not through having some magical morning routine. It's through repeated moments of just noticing and being able to meet yourself and choose intentionally. And it's really amazing how much everything changes when we start living that way. This is really the kind of work that I mean when I talk about embodiment. It is one thing to understand things like nervous system regulation and self trust and emotional mastery, but it's an entirely different thing to actually practice them, to actually start your mornings that way, to actually practice the stuff in your relationships and in your responsibilities and in your triggers. And that's where embodiment really comes in. Living it, practicing it time and time again. And that's how we build self trust. Right now, you probably have a bunch of receipts that say that you don't show up in the ways that you want to. So we need to start building receipts that say you can show up in the ways that you want to. That's how we actually build self trust. That's how we show ourselves that there is a different option, that we don't have to keep reacting from the same fucking patterns and stay in the same survival identities. So, yeah. That's also why I'm creating this amazing thing called Alchemy Circle. And this isn't going to be another course that you finish or anything like that. It is actually a space where you get to keep practicing the work and receive support and make these shifts a part of how you actually live. I wanted to create something that is not just a course that people go through and get a bunch of information, but actually something where you have accountability and you get to practice and live this together. So it's like a community and a toolkit wrapped into one. It's really incredible. If you want information about it, right now, like today is the last day. I'm about to raise the price for the founding thing again because it launches next week. If you want more information, today's the last day on the $297 for a year price. And this is going to be $55 a month. So that's actually a really incredible deal. And we launch next week. But yeah, this is a space for you to keep practicing the work and actually receive this support. Because I know this stuff works. I did this work to get out of survival. And this is the work that I continue to do to keep leveling up and reaching the new levels and new things that I want in my life and continue to build safety and capacity. So if you want more info on that, let me know. It's going to be incredible. But for today, just choose one small thing that supports your baseline. Okay? What is one thing that you can give yourself this morning that may change how you meet the rest of the day? Find the moments of pleasure and joy throughout your day. Like, there's so much, okay, that coffee, like, you could allow that to be a pleasurable experience. But do you? No, we're so busy going about our day that we just breeze through it. That's a way to increase your baseline. All right. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all today. If you want more information on Alchemy Circle, let me know. I also do have a self-paced hybrid experience that has group coaching and a course that I've got 4 people in right now, and it's really changing their lives. So if you're ready to actually start working on this stuff and see a difference and be able to show up as someone that you can be proud of and be able to trust yourself to show up in the ways you want to in the hard moments, then hit me up. Let's get you in there. It's still at a crazy low price because I just launched it like 5 weeks ago. So get in now before it goes up to 500. All right. Sending y'all so much love. I'll talk to you later.